Hello, today we are going to discuss about VLAN, that is Virtual Local Area Network. So in this we will learn about what is a VLAN, then the benefits related to the VLAN, then the ports, switch port which are assigned to the particular VLANs, then the type of VLANs and how to configure the VLAN network and the various VLAN terms, and advantage and the disadvantage of the VLAN. So let's first discuss about what is a VLAN. So as VLAN stands for Virtual Local Area Network. So here in this, what we do, a physical broadcast domain, a large physical broadcast domain is divided into multiple logical broadcast domain. So means in this we create a virtual network from a physical network. So a virtual local area network is a single physical broadcast domain which is made up of two or more switches and is divided into multiple logical broadcast domain. So it means the VLAN network is a partitioned and a isolated network at the data link layer of an OSI model. So here it allows network administrator, that is the designer of the network, that it is responsible to partition their network to match the functionality and the security requirement of their system. So it is created using logical connection instead of the physical connection. So it means the connection between the virtual local area network are logical. So VLAN is defined by 802 IEEE 802.1Q standard. So it is defined by this IEEE standard. Next is the traffic between, or the routing between the two VLAN cannot pass directly. So we have to install the layer 3 device, that is router, to pass the traffic between two VLANs. And the VLAN membership is assigned by using a software, or we use a software to make the VLAN network into a LAN using a LAN network. So here the VLAN ID or VID is used to name the VLAN networks or to differentiate between the VLANs. So it is a 12 bits. It means 4094 different VLANs can be created from a same network. So next, this diagram shows the LAN segmentation, that this network is divided into the particular LAN, that is LAN 1, LAN 2 and LAN 3. So here the devices in LAN 1 is connected to a particular switch, and the LAN 2 devices are connected to a second switch, and LAN 3 devices are connected to the switch 3. It means the different LAN segments have their own switches. So to make the VLAN network from the LAN segmentation, so here in this diagram we show the VLAN segmentation, that we have divided the devices into VLAN 1, VLAN 2 and VLAN 3. It means the devices in VLAN 1 are connected to a different switches. So if let's take a scenario like a user want to broadcast some message in to a different devices in a different VLAN. So it have to send the message individually to the each user in the different LAN network. So in LAN segmentation, it has to send the individual message to the every device. But in VLAN network, like if he want to send the message in a particular VLAN or a devices in a so it create a VLAN network of that devices, then it broadcasts the message in that particular VLAN using a single switch. So in this way the VLAN segmentation is used. The next is the benefit of the VLAN. So these are the benefit of the VLAN, like it has the increased network performance. It means by dividing the network according to the network requirements and so thus the routing of the network in a particular domain reduce the network traffic. So this increase the network performance. Then is improved network manageability. So as VLAN provide easy, flexible and less costly way to modify the logical group, so it has a improved network manageability. Next is simple software configuration. As we use the software to make the VLAN network, so by entering few commands in command window of the switch, we create the VLAN network. The next is improved security options. So in this, security options are also improved as more sensitive broadcast domains can be saved by applying various authentication and encryption. So these are the benefit of the VLAN. The next is the type of VLAN ports, your ports used in a VLAN. So there are three ports: SS port, trunk port, and the hybrid port. So first one is the SS port. So SS ports are the ports which are used to connect the particular user, host, or the device in the network. So it is used to connect, it can connect to only the access link. So they are connected to only access the particular link. Next is trunk port. So this port is used to connect the various switches in a VLAN network. So it can connect only to access the trunk link. Then is hybrid port. It is used to connect both devices and the switches in the network, and it connect either to the access link or to the trunk link. So hybrid port allows frame from multiple VLANs to pass through. So these are the three ports of the VLAN network. Next is the type of VLAN network. So type of VLAN networks are as port based VLANs and as tagged based VLAN. So first discuss about as port based VLAN. So in this port based VLAN, what we have a single physical switch, and we divide into the logical, that particular physical switch into a logical switch. So as we discussed this in by using example where we have shown that the division of an 8-port physical switch into a logical switch. So here we have a switch A as shown in the diagram. It has a 8 port, and what we have do, we assign the ports to a particular VLAN. So like port 1, 2, 3 and 4 are assigned to a VLAN 1, and port 5, 6, 7, 8 are assigned to the port VLAN 2. So these in this way a single physical switch is divided into a multiple logical switches. So as shown in the table that the switch port 1, 2, 3 and 4 are connected to VLAN 1, and connected devices to particular VLANs are PC1, PC2 and PC3. And same way the port 5, 6, 7, 8 are connected to VLAN 2, and the devices which are connected PC4, 5 and 6 are connected to the VLAN 2. So they can't the VLAN 1 and VLAN 2 can't communicate with each other directly. So we have to require a wire to connect the two VLAN ports. So let's take an scenario that a switch which is configured same as configured as a switch A, and it is placed at the another location. So if we want to make communication possible between these two switches, so we require two wires to connect these two switches. So one cable from these two cables can be used as one cable from switch A port 4 to switch B port 4 to communicate the VLAN 1. So next is one cable required to connect switch A port 8 to switch B port 8 for VLAN 2. So as shown in the diagram that there are two switches, switch A and switch B. These two switches are if we want to connect these two switches, so we require the two wires, as we have connected the switch A port 4 to the switch B port 4 to make the communication between VLAN 1, and same way to make the communication between VLAN 2 we connect the switch A port 8 to switch B port 8. So in this way we make the connection between the two switches in port based VLAN. The next is the as tagged VLAN. So in tagged VLAN we doesn't require any multiple wires to connect the switches. So here we require a single switch port which is assigned, which is worked as both which worked for both multiple VLANs or VLAN network. So here in tag VLAN, multiple VLANs can be used through a single switch port. So a tag contains the respective VLAN identifier. So here the particular switch port contain the VLAN identifiers or the VLAN ID. So these VLAN IDs are indicates that to which VLAN the frame belongs. So by checking the Ethernet frame, the VLAN network is identified, and the connection between various VLANs to both physical switches done by using a single switch. So here we are using a single switch at here port 8 act as work for both VLAN 1 and VLAN 2 devices. It stores the identifier for both VLANs, and here we connect the switch A port 8 to switch B port 8 which act as the tagged based VLAN. So this is the diagram which shows the tag based VLAN communication. The next is how to configure a VLAN network. So here I have discussed the basic steps to configure a VLAN network. So first of all, what we log in into the switch using SSH, that is the secure socket shell. That is the protocol which is used to communicate with the switch, secure communication between the switches. So here we first of all we log in into the switch, and by using the tool like CLI or GUI, that is command line interface, and the graphic user interface, we enter the command into the switch for configuration. So here then we define the VLAN network, and after creating VLAN, then we assign the particular ports to a particular ports to the particular network. So this is the assignment of the ports in a VLAN network is known as VLAN assignment. So this is how we configure a VLAN network. So next is the VLAN terms, the various VLAN terms. Like first is trunking. So trunking, it is a process to transfer VLAN traffic between two or more switches. So if we want to route the traffic between more than two or more switches, more VLAN, so we have to that process is known as trunking. So a port is configured known as trunk port to perform trunking, and trunk port is the port configured on switch to carry all traffic regardless of the VLAN numbers between all switches in the LAN. So as we have discussed in the tag VLAN. The next is VLAN trunking protocol. So this protocol is used to update multiple switches in the VLAN network. So in this, if any network topology changes, or the IP address or the MAC address of any devices changes, or we add new device or delete a device from the network, so here this protocol update every switches according to the requirement or according to the changes in the VLAN network. The next is multi-layer switch. So multi-layer switch are the switches which works at both layers of an OSI model, at layer 2 and layer 3 of an OSI model. So those switches are known as multi-layer switches, and they work as both router and as a switch. So the time here what we do, we mention the ports to which a particular function to differentiate the functioning of the multi-layer switch. So we assign the router ports and the switch port on the multi-layer switches. The next is inter-VLAN routing. So inter-VLAN routing means is to route the traffic between different VLAN. So we here require the router to install between the different VLAN to route the traffic between the VLANs. So this is known as inter-VLAN routing. The next is the advantages and disadvantages of VLAN. So first of all, the advantages. The advantage first is broadcast control. So as in VLAN, we divide the large network into the small logical broadcast domain. So here we control the broadcast of traffic in the network. So it also reduces the traffic. The next is high performance network. So by dividing network according to the network requirement and routing the traffic in a particular domain, so we also reduce the traffic and make the performance of the network high. The next is security. So here we also add the security in the network. So these are the advantages and disadvantages. Disadvantages like configuration and management of network is complex, as we require the complete knowledge of the network to configure a VLAN network. The next is the VLAN limit, that we only create 4094 VLANs in a particular network. So this is a drawback of the VLAN network. So this is all about VLAN. Thank you.